Hello dudes and dudesses, and welcome to a video about a very interesting new game mechanic, possibly a bug, but I tried to use it in the Flying Saucer last week but couldn't quite get it to work. Now, with the help of my Discord community, I've figured out why. This is a top-down view of the Flying Saucer. It's exactly the same farm that we built last week, and every time you see a white dot, it's a creeper, and when it's on the left, it's standing with its head in a redstone block, suffocating and dying. And last week I couldn't make this work consistently, but now I can, which means that we can save 150 hoppers on this farm. So hang on, this is gonna be a great video. Now, if you don't give a flying hoot about my Discord community or the help I got that I so often get from my Discord community, then just skip on ahead, because there's a tutorial for the farm and there's a tutorial for changing the farm if you build the Flying Saucer version 1. But you should stick around because this is quite interesting. Last week when I designed this farm, I almost had it working so that we could have only one row of hoppers, but for some reason the behavior wasn't consistent. In case you're wondering what the behavior is, it's right here. You have a chest boat in a minecart going back and forth on a rail with redstone blocks powering it. Then you have a creeper like this, and watch what happens. The boat stops, the minecart stops, and the creeper suffocates. But that's not all. When the creeper has suffocated, it goes again, which means that you have an effective killing mechanism. And because a mob that is picked up by a boat or minecart is no longer counting towards the mob cap, this is a pretty neat idea. However, I could not make it work consistently in my testing. I built the farm several times. I started testing for directionality, block density, and all kinds of stuff, and I couldn't figure it out. So instead, I just made this farm, which is pretty good. It's efficient and it works, but it does use 165 hoppers unless you build a hopper minecart underneath, as I suggested you could do in the video. But then, as soon as I have released the video, my Discord community and my YouTube community started pitching in. And one of them is Ending Credit, that you might know for having discovered the scaffolding trick for shulker farms. And he discovered that it was the directionality of the boats. I simply hadn't placed all the boats in the same direction, and that made the difference, the huge difference. There were some other small things as well, and other people were also pitching in with ideas, but that one was the essential one, because if you place the boat away from the redstone block, then it will be consistent. And now we have only 15 hoppers. I spent so much time watching the farm that I actually noticed a few other things as well, and that is that sometimes when a mob was picked up and the minecart was full, then it bumped another mob, and it could actually be just out of distance for being picked up the next time, which means that some of the mobs just spawned and despawned, and I've made a fix for that as well. But let's build the farm. We built it from scratch so you can see it all the way, even though you can also just modify your old farm, and I will do that later in the video, so that if you have already built the other farm, you can have 150 hoppers that you can put in storage, or you can use for building your farm in layers. And that's a lot of hoppers right here. Okay, this is the layout of the farm. It's pretty much 23 by 23 blocks, just like version 1 of the farm. And I have put carpets on. This is just to make sure that no spiders will spawn in here when you're up on your spawning platform. And then I have put in a single row of hoppers. And as you can see, it starts 4 blocks from this side and 3 blocks from this side and 3 blocks from this side. Then you just put soul sand on it like this. And if we look at it from here, you can see all the hoppers are going that way into one hopper down to one chest. And of course, you will be needing more than one chest. Then you surround the soul sand with the actual spawning layer, which is all the way like this. So there's 1, 2, and 3 in all. And then you just do the same on this side. And if you can see it now, these are just supporting blocks. You can see there's 2 blocks right there. And that would be the same right here, 2 blocks out till that. And the only difference is this side where there's 3 blocks like this. Then you build up a 2 block high wall on this side right here. And on this side right here. Then it's time to place down the redstone blocks, and you go 1, 2, 3, and you place 1, and you skip 2, place 1, skip 2, and place 1, skip 2, place 1, skip 2, place 1. And you should have a pattern looking like this. And then you just follow this line right here, all the way down, and down here you place a block as well. So now you should have something looking like this. And then you find the middle, it's the 6 blocks, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you put a redstone block there, and you do that in all the lines. Then you take your powered rails and you place a powered rail there, and you place powered rails like this, and a powered rail right there. And you do that on all of the lines, and then you fill in with normal rails, making the farm a bit cheaper in gold than the first version. And now you should have something looking like this, and we bring in the trapdoors, and that's a change from the original farm as well. We put in trapdoors on every block now, and of course it's to stop spiders from spawning, just like it was in the original farm. But I also noticed while watching this farm that the creepers, who are absolutely perfectly able to spawn, even though this is not a full block, when they're spawning here and there's a minecart going that already has a creeper in it, it sometimes bumps the creeper and it bumps it up against the wall there. And that means that the creeper is actually slightly out of reach from the next boat. So it will be standing there and then maybe just despawning in the farm. So this makes sure that every creeper that spawns is able to be picked up by a minecart. That also means that here in this space where we have 2 rows, we actually need to put in trapdoors from both sides, like so. Now your farm should be looking like this, and it's time to bring in the minecart. And you just place the minecart down like that, and then you go to this side where the redstone block is, and you take your boat of choice and you place it right here and hope that the minecarts will pick it up. It doesn't always do it, so you might have to have a few tries. But if you do like this and you put it right there and then move away, it picks it up. And you can see the side of the chest needs to be at this side. And I can just show you, test this out for you. Place 1 there, and you can see he goes in there and he suffocates in that block, just as I showed you earlier. And when he's dead, well, like that, you can see the minecart goes off again, the gunpowder is picked up right there, and the farm is working. And now the minecarts and the chest boats are in, so we just need to build up the walls. I'm using smooth stone, as you can see, but you can use any solid block that will keep out any light. It has to be total darkness in there. And then it's time for the roof, and on the roof we need a lot of trapdoors as well to keep the height down so that only creepers will spawn in there. And we just put this all the way. We don't need to put it on the rails because mobs cannot spawn on rails and they won't go onto rails. And of course here we do it as well, like this, all the way, and then you just open these afterwards. I actually have a version in my world over there somewhere labeled. It will be in the world download. It was a suggestion from Ending Credits, the scaffolding man. He loves his scaffolding. It's a good block. It's a very good block. And he suggested uses scaffolding instead, as it will also limit the height and make sure only creepers spawn, but it will alter the dimension of the farms because of the way that scaffolding work and make it a bit more complicated to build the sides. So it will be, as I said, in the world download, and you can take a look at it if you want to do it like this. I'm just gonna be using trap doors. And now you have something looking like this, and the farm is almost done. But we need to have it all dark in there, so we are going to put full blocks, any kind of full blocks on top of the trapdoors, because trapdoors unfortunately let in light. So this is what the farm should look like. I've opted for a solid roof of smooth stone and just carpet on top. You can use anything to mob-proof this. Buttons, you could use slab, you could even have a roof of tinted glass if you wanted to, or you can build up a wall and flood it all with water. It just have to be spawn-proof. Now, this is also at the level that you build up the next layer if you're wanting to have a farm that's, where is it? Somewhere over there, several levels. So what you do is on this block right here, which is not on this one, very important, on this block right here, you will actually place your hoppers, and you have to bring it down one further out because it has to be totally dark in the farm, and hoppers do let in light, and you have to have the hoppers at this height here. You cannot put them down because there's redstone and it will block the hoppers. So if you want to layer it, the next layer that you will have, you will build up here, and then you will just do exactly the same as you did down there, which means soul sand on top here, and then a new spawning layer. So you will kind of have this empty space in there in between the two layers, and you will have to spawn proof that either with light or something so that spiders don't spawn in there. But it wouldn't be much of a flying saucer unless we put on this, and these button row slabs right here, if you didn't watch the first video, is because we have learned a long time ago from Nimbom that this actually increases the chance of pack spawning. And in Java edition, not in Bedrock weirdly enough, but in Java edition, creepers can spawn in packs of 4. So this just makes it more likely that we will get pack spawns inside the farm. And we just put this rim all around 3 wide on the whole farm. Oh, can you see this? This is 4, this is 3 wide. I just realized that I have built the farm 1 block too small. This should have been 1 out here. I'm not gonna redo it. You can think that yourself. So this is actually 1 further out, which means that it's 1, 2, 3 blocks in plus that from that side. I'm so sorry, but I don't have time to redo the whole thing, and all of the mechanics are the same. Alright, dudes and dudettes, if you haven't built this farm before, the video ends now, because what comes next is just service for those who actually might build the one that I put out last week in a quick way to refurbish it so that it works like this one. So thank you for watching if you're stopping now, and leave a like, put out a comment. It helps the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you did build it, just keep on watching. I will have a short tutorial on how to change your old farm to this new concept right here. Now this farm is exactly the same farm as we have over there, which is the original flying saucer farm, except that I have put in double trapdoors right here and trapdoors right here to make sure that there are only non-full spawning spaces for the creepers. Now, as we're not going to suffocate the creeper all the way, first of all, we can take out all of these. We don't need them anymore. Secondly, we need to make this block underneath here a non-solid, or well, a soul sand or a mud block as well, so that the hoppers will actually pick up the drops through them, like so. And then just put the rails back. Now, if we go in here, all of this can be removed. And this one right here should be the one that we need to put the hoppers underneath. So we actually need to move the hopper row one further into the farm. But all of these hoppers we can use for something else. And now all the hoppers are gone, and if you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th row you should have this row of hoppers all pointing into this hopper going down to this chest right here. Now it's important to say that if you build this farm from new, then this doesn't have to be anything else than a solid block right here, and that goes for the entire floor. Only this first row needs to be either soul sand or mud that hoppers can pick up items directly through. Now if you were to put in the minecarts right here, and remember to put in the boats facing that way, away from the redstone block, then you would be golden. Now just put the roof back on and you're good to go. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. You too, watch your step, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember to leave a like, and if you're brand new, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye!